All right, boys, welcome to the sports section of the show, and let's get it popping. A lot to digest here, a lot to discuss. Let's start off first and foremost with the Michigan Wolverines shit in the bed against TCU.
Shit in the bed.
I didn't see that coming.
No, I don't think a lot of people did, and unfortunately, great year for Michigan falls to the wayside because for me, it's poor coaching and bad quarterback play. I think you can't spot a team, 12 points on 2 pick sixes. You can't fumble the ball on the goal line. And you sure as hell, you're playing a 3-3-5 defense, and your main identity as a team is smash the rock. And they didn't do it.
No.
They just shit the bed on all phases. It's very disappointing to see. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. People want to bitch about the referees, and yeah, it was a horrible call not calling that a touchdown. But at the end of the day, you look at the point differential. You lost that game, not the referees. And TCU just did enough. They scored on the turnovers, and they did what they had to do, and you did not.
You gave him 14 points, 12, matter of fact.
Do you think Harbaugh underestimated?
Oh yeah,
Texas
his
Christian
arrogance once
University?
again.
I think honestly they overcoached, and in the end of the day, they got outcoached.
Rough and rugged team. That team is TCU. Like they were saying, we are being overlooked, and that was the case.
Yeah, you're not just going to show up and roll over a team in the college football playoff. I don't care who you are, what conference you play in, and a lot of rumors now. A lot of rumors about Harbaugh. Like, what's his future? Where does he stand? You hear these things about him possibly going to the Denver Broncos, and that he likes the Carolina Panthers, roster and this, that, and the other thing and whatnot. But for me, it's nice to see Michigan get back to a winning culture. But I think out of most years, this was your chance to win the Natty, man. Alabama wasn't Alabama. Georgia almost lost to Ohio State, and you smashed Ohio State. This was your opportunity, man, and you let it all fall to the wayside. It's very unfortunate.
Doesn't this give the opportunity to Ohio State to actually win the national championship now?
Ohio State lost by one.
I'm sorry. They would have won. They could have. They could have went on, and they ultimately would have gotten the bigger prize than just the Michigan and Ohio State game, right? They did lose.
Unfortunately, they're in Buffalo right now. They're in Buffalo.
I'll do it myself. Thank you.
But that was a classic football game too. That was a really good game.
Great game. Both teams deserved to win that game. And I will tell you what. I was talking to Philly about this. Shroud. That kid played his ass off to win, and I think he's going to be a fine NFL quarterback. He played to win, and total different team that played Michigan, and to play Georgia that tough back and forth, I don't even think Michigan could have put up that big of a fight. They look like a total different team, and it was sad when Harbaugh's dad had to stand up in the stands, like call the timeout.
Oh yeah,
he was coaching from the stands.
His own father.
Yeah. Why is the clock running?
Yes.
We were on the phone at that time. Like, why isn't he calling the timeout? Like, what the hell is going on here? And I don't know, man. It was just not the Michigan team we saw all season long at all.
That was a disappointment, that's for sure.
Play action worked every time. When they did play action, receiver wide open. Then you go from it. Then you don't pound the corners. You don't pound the inside. And then they knew what you were doing.
And here's my thing. You try to go the well a little bit too late with J.J. McCarthy. He's a good athlete. You try running with them late. Now you're down multiple scores.
Yeah, they were playing catch-up, right? They just were slinging the ball, doing whatever.
It wasn't the time to do that. And then you run the damn Philly special on fourth down. That just really, everything about it just rubs me the wrong way. You just let a grand opportunity slip through their fingers.
That was like backyard stuff. You know what I mean? That little...
And I get it. Hey, you were down, guys, but also Ohio State lost their best wide receiver halfway through that game. They're already down. Smith and Jigba is going to be a first-round pick, wide receiver. There's no excuses. You made it to the dance. You should have executed, and you didn't. And we'll see where the chips fall. I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't want to see a complete rebuild because, we had the Rich Rodriguez years where they tried to do stuff outside of Michigan's prototype, the smash mouth Big Ten football, and it didn't work here.
Yeah, and then we went away from it. That's the bad thing.
Yeah, they tried to do the spread stuff, and now it's really good. It's a well-oiled machine, so be careful what you wish for at the same time. Like, you don't want to run Harbaugh out of town because it could be bleak on the other side, but it's still disappointing because we had it in our grasp.
Could have been a magical season. You beat Ohio State, and then here you are, man. You just get to this big game, and
you got 2 good games, Sunday night and Monday night, and Michigan's not going to be there, unfortunately. But
and you got nobody to blame but yourself. So
I like both teams, though. That's the thing. I like both teams. I'm almost thinking about putting my money on TCU. I think they're probably going to get 7, maybe 10. I think that's a big. You've seen. I mean, that defense, man.
I never heard of these guys up until,
that's what I'm saying.
Like the unknown, kind of like Gonzaga when they were in the Final Fours, and this little school out of nowhere,
that dude is good, that quarterback. I know he smells like cinnamon. But that kid, when I tell you he is rough and rugged, he finds a way.
Yeah, he was a baller.
Yes.
Hacksaw Max Duggan, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Did great.
I see it.
Great, bro. So, NFL, let's just get into it, man.
Yes.
Lions, big win against the Chicago Bears, and they positioned themselves to not necessarily have, all the cards in their hand. Obviously, we need a Seattle loss to our
We need some help.
Detroit Rams. And unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm praying that it does. We'll see. I just think, however this plays out, I'm going to say on the record that we're right on track. We're right where we thought they were going to be, 6 to 8 wins. I think it's you've seen great progress this year. I'm really happy with it. First time, I think, in Lions history, 4,000 passing and 2,000 rushing. The offense is just a well-oiled machine. Defense leaves a lot to be desired, I feel like, still. But that's where the focus needs to be. And you're not going to complete a football team in 1 year.
No.
You know what I'm saying? They're on the right track, though, and they're developing players. And you look at the 2 rookies, Hutchinson and Houston, the first combo to have 7.5 sacks or whatever.
Amazing. They had great games.
Dude,
cannot lose them. Cannot lose Houston. He's a hot commodity.
No, he's a 6th-round pick, and that's what we've been lacking here in Detroit for so long. I think now we're starting to hit on those guys and finally show some promise in the later rounds. And
that's what they were saying about Holmes.
For Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell.
He's a surgeon.
They're doing a great job.
Yeah,
phenomenal job. We talked about those draft picks. This game coming up, though, on Sunday, man. Good news, they flexed it to the last primetime game of the season, right? So
I know you like it, but I don't.
I don't like the fact that I think Rodgers in the month of December over the last several years is 18-1 or 19-1. He's only lost 1 game in the month of later in the year. Mm-hmm. The month of December and he just in other words, he progresses as he gets into this. Come to that championship, but. Man, there's nothing bigger and sweeter that if the Lions could go down there. Of course, we're going to need the help, right? Like you said. Hopefully, LA can beat Seattle, and there's a ton of possibilities. But makes you wonder why they flexed this game, and all of a sudden, all the marbles are on the table.
I think the fix is in for Aaron Rodgers.
The fix, yeah.
But remember, even if that is the case, Green Bay still has to win. And Detroit can screw them and say,
they can be a spoiler. Absolutely.
I would love that too, though. Yeah. That would be a nice little caveat. You go 9-8, you screw Green Bay out of the.
Yeah, you're not going. We're not going.
Seattle,
you ain't going.
Have fun in San Francisco. You're out week 1. You're done.
Yeah.
So the Lions have enough satisfaction, even if there is nothing to play for, the fact that they could be spoilers, right? And
that's in itself.
That to me, that's a victory.
Yeah.
Where we were at 1-6 to where we're at right now, this could mean a big deal either way. It doesn't matter how the cards play out. As a fan, we really want to see him go to a playoff game.
We had a few players earlier today, Okware, whatever. He says, what do you feel about, if at 4 o'clock that, you're not going to play. He goes, well, there's many things on the table. For one, we have a quarterback that doesn't respect his team.
Yep.
Okay. And
that team,
they have to beat us to get in.
Douchebag, Rodgers.
He did say they're not the same old Lions, though.
Yeah. That's another thing. There's so many variables coming out of this season on a high note. Them not going if we don't go. There's so many different things.
Yep.
He said we're prepared for anything. So that's a good thing.
I agree. I mean, and yeah, LaFleur and Rodgers, it's always a daunting task going to Green Bay. You know, like they're so good in the month of
32
November, December,
degrees.
January. I don't want to say the league's fixed, but they definitely catered Aaron Rodgers here. You know, I am happy in this regard for the Lions players and coaches for what they've accomplished. Like they get the national spotlight, which is cool because they've done a great thing here.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're really building something. Hopefully they'll give us more primetime games for next season.
Or it could backfire on us. That's the that's the part of the we don't want to say same old Lions because it's not the same old Lions, but that's the part as a fan that's the hurdle we have yet to get over. Right? We haven't gone to this big all eyes are on you, man. This is the last game of the season.
Yeah,
you're on national TV. You're the only show on right now, and do they go out there and send a message to the whole league that hey, this is a team, and I think they're going to have a good game. My gut's giving me this good.
Do they wear the white or do they wear the gray?
I hope they wear the white, man. I like the white.
Go with all white?
All white, man. Just go.
I don't know if I like that,
You
man.
don't like it?
I like the gray, I think.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
You got to be error-free.
Yeah.
You got to be Aaron Rodgers free.
B, can you turn me up in here?
Yeah.
If I was a little bit.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have the greatest receivers. He's making them great. You got to stop that. You stop the run game, you can beat them.
DB's got to have a big game. We all
Yes.
know Rodgers likes to sling the ball, right?
He's going to be under attack.
My thing is this, though. You look at Rodgers' stats, that they're not overwhelming. He had under 200 yards last. He makes the plays, and he's not going to make mistakes to cost you. But their defense is really what's playing well in Green Bay. They've got 12 turnovers during this winning streak or something like that. That's the key. And Goff has been protecting the football. The backs have been protecting the football. That's going to be the key. In cold weather, our offense doesn't perform as well on the road. It's a proven fact. So they're going to need everything working in unison to really get this win. And I really hope they do. Either way, whether we go to the playoffs or not, of course we want that game. Why wouldn't you? It's right there for the taking,
You got to make him debacle again when he was in that one game. When he just gave up on his freaking team. You know what I mean? He just had the head up in the air, shaking his head. He was so debacle.
Tickled pink, dude.
Yeah, he was just so out of it.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to do. You got to take him there again and put that pressure. Because Rodgers going to get that 12-yard. He'll run. But he's not the fastest. He's smart fast. In his checkdowns. If you stop that and keep him contained, you won 15-9 at home. Okay? The first time. You've won in Green Bay before. All right? You can do it again. You got a much better team now.
Yeah.
And I think these guys are like, hey, listen, there's so much to win here. Even we don't care what Seahawks do. We do, but we don't.
What I like about this is the coach continues to hold. He hasn't changed his tone.
No.
From the beginning of the season during the Hard Knocks, he stayed positive on the outlook. It's just, you guys got to stick with me. This is a big game coming up on Sunday. It's a huge game.
And he's learned because he blew one game during the
And I like
first
when he
half.
lost that Carolina game. He just said, hey, we played like shit. And basically, he said it the way it was. He congratulated that coach at midfield and complimented him for getting, you kicked our asses. And what more do you want from a real, true coach that's speaking from the heart and bringing it out?
This is what you get when you play like that.
You guys want to hear a bit of a little locker room here?
I was proud of the guys. I was proud of these coaches. Like I mentioned, and this is great going in last week. It's a good opponent, and we got a chance to play for the postseason.
We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but Dan, win or lose, playoffs or not, just how important has this run been in playing meaningful games in the month of December and January for a young football team like this and the culture that you guys are building to be able to go through this for the future?
I think just like what I said last night, I think it's important to get used to being here because that's what this is where you want to be. You want to be in the you want to be in the thick of it, and you always want to have a chance to get in or have gotten in, and now it's about seeding, everything I talked about last night, and so this has got to be where we're at, and I do think it's very important, and because to get to this point, now, especially for a young team overall, you understand I mean, here we are going into week 18 now. You know, there's 17 games in a season, and it's a lot of football. There's a lot of things that can happen. I mean, you look at the ebbs and flows of this season and different teams, including us, and, man, all the hype one way or all the lows one way, and this team's written off and they're back. This team is the greatest thing that's happened in years, and now look at the slide they're on. It's natural. It's been that way for years, and you just got to be consistent and just handle your business. Go to work every week. You got to have a little luck.
The Bears are who we thought they were.
They sure put it on the Bears, didn't they?
And that's what you're supposed to do. The shitty teams.
Right.
Beat them up like that.
Destroyed them. I mean, we need this offense, though. 253.9 passing yards per game, 6th in the league. Rushing yards, they're 11th, 129. That's winning football. You know what I'm saying? 4th in the league in points. They're over 27 again. That's the type of ball we need, but we're going to have to step up on defense. And the key is our offense versus their defense. Like I said, I think that's where the games will be won and lost. You got one of the best offensive lines in football. These games late in the season and into the playoffs, this is how you're going to be. That's how you got to play ball at this time of year. So pound the rock, use your strengths, man. Again, I think it's a winnable game, but history is not on our side, and that's the only thing that scares me.
I think that's what worries us all. But you know, this is going to be a big deal, man.
Yeah,
What's your winning formula? What's your winning formula?
I stick with what got them there, man. Like they're playing like with how they played against Chicago. Once they took the quarterback from Chicago out, they got kind of took his legs out, and when Fields didn't become part of the equation, they have to get their best playmaker. They have to either, they got to target their receivers. They got a good running game, but like Philly said, it's they got a good defense. I think the defense is going to be the key to this game. They have to contain Rodgers. The defensive backs have to play
you got
well.
to make plays, and you have to keep Rodgers on the sideline.
Yeah.
You have to keep, with game time management, that clock and keep him on the sideline.
Right.
Keeping him over there, he can't do anything.
Right.
But frustration, like we did, we went down and we ate up like 7.5 minutes. That's what you got to do, and then score. Mm-hmm. Okay. Even if you come down in there and you get on the 2-yard line, you better think twice before you go for it. And I know it's a big game. You put them 3 points on there. Put them 3 points on there.
Yeah,
Don't get stuck and because all you can do is give Green Bay that firepower.
Yep.
And then Rodgers comes out there and lights your ass up for 7.
I think you're seeing a lot of running. I think with Swift had a pretty good game this last game.
Looked good, looked
Williams,
healthy.
I mean, you got a great running back by committee.
Keep pounding that rock on him and eating that time up and score.
There's going to be focus on St. Brown. We already know that he's their go-to guy. I mean, it's kind of like any team you're going to defend against. You got to target their best guy. But I think that this offensive coordinator we have, he's a sharp dude.
This is where Williams is going to come in right here. This is where I believe Williams is going to
run game,
showcase.
and he's going back to Green Bay, right?
Yeah.
And then the rookie receiver you're talking about, I think you're going to see a couple flyouts from this guy. He's just
I
going
would love to see that. And Jamal Williams is only 6 yards away from 1,000. So
I'm
he's
telling
gonna
you,
get that.
and he's coming back to Green Bay. I mean, Pokemon himself, and he's going to be there. And I love the guy's personality.
I love him
He's
too, man.
fantastic.
I just hope that Goff, he can keep them fingers warm. Because he has a hard time
dude.
throwing.
The glove thing wasn't working for him.
He
in
just said his
Carolina.
fingers, they get numb. They get where he has when it's cold, gripping the ball.
Yeah, I could see it, but
so does Rodgers, but he deals with that.
He's used to it. It's where he's used
That's
to playing.
the game formula. Keep him on the sideline and do your assignment. Defense,
Exactly
do
like
your
you said.
assignment.
Maybe get a turnover here or there, but if we can run the ball, keep him on the sideline.
Yes.
Score. Whether it's you want to score touchdowns, but you got to keep points on the board because Rodgers can get his at any time.
Anytime.
So I
You're
think
right.
that's important.
it's going to be cold, guys. I'm looking at the Green Bay forecast for Sunday. The high is 34 degrees down to the low 20s at night. So it's going to be a cold game. It's going to be the frozen tundra. It's going to be everything that people talk about. But we're going to need the Lions to step up.
Grit.
Grit. We're going to need every bit of grit. And I'm rooting for Baker Mayfield, man. Hopefully he gets it done.
Yeah, gosh, man, we have to. I mean, so much can happen on this final week of the season.
Yeah.
Some teams are going to go home disappointed, but
Just pray on it. Pray on it.
And I was
All you can
worried
do.
about that Carolina game. I knew you guys were laughing at me because I was like, Carolina's a pretty decent team.
Did you-
And
did you
were
pick
in it.
Carolina?
No, I ended
We
up
all went
backtracking
Detroit?
because
Okay.
I was sipping the Kool-Aid and I was on board. But
it's easy to do.
What they were trying to do was tough. It would have been unprecedented. They won, what, 7 out of 9?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough.
Dude, this is a hell of a stretch they're on, and it's just tough in the NFL.
Oh,
I mean, you
man.
use that tight game to Buffalo, and you're going to have those duds throughout the season.
And Carolina's not a bad team. They,
Oh, no,
what
man.
they've been
They're
through.
still putting it together. You know what I mean? You look at what happened in Minnesota. The team's got 12 wins. They get shellacked in Green Bay.
But guys,
this happens.
Think about those games we lost by a field goal, or dumb coaching decision, like with the game against Minnesota they lost, and a couple other games that they only lost by one score. One more win, man.
I know. It's
That
learning,
is-
though. It's Campbell. It's the evolution of Dan Campbell.
That
He's
keeps you
still
hungry.
learning on the job. And I
What's
think,
his name was so pissed, the receiver from Minnesota. You know what I'm saying?
but we used to lose all those games. Now
Yeah.
they're actually starting to win those tight games.
Yeah.
And it's great to see. And
Yes.
that builds confidence in tight games.
Or when the opposition scores right away, they come right back and go right down the field and get theirs.
You're
It's like-
seeing a team like the 49ers. That's what you're seeing. The 3-year deal.
and the team is so young too, guys.
Yeah.
And that's
Oh,
a
they're so
great
young.
thing about
youngest,
this.
right?
There's
26,
future
Yeah, I believe they're the
football.
youngest in the league. And I was talking to my brother about this too. Like when they're in 3rd and long situations, I used to be like, "Oh, they're done." Now, 3rd and 9, no problem.
Yeah.
St. Brown,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Brock
Throws a
Wright,
dart.
it's
He's
just
something else, man.
Catches it.
problem.
Yeah, no, it's been a great season so far. I mean, what they had and where they're at right now, to me, it's a successful season. I didn't have them predicted even be close to winning as many games at this point where they're at. Not even a thought in my mind that they're going to go to the playoffs. Mike, I wasn't drinking that Kool-Aid that much, man.
no.
Got a lot of left. Like Campbell said, we got a lot of games left, one at a time.